Day 15 of the shutdown. We're going to play some clips later in the program that show the support for the Affordable Care Act. It has grown certainly over the years, but certainly over the course of the shutdown too, because people are starting to realize, like, wait a second, this is going to cost us real money. And I think the Republicans are getting a little worried. Here is Donald Trump talking about what he's going to do during the shutdown. But I want you to understand this. There is nothing about this shutdown that allows Trump to do this. I mean, we could never, ever know a counterfactual. But more than likely, he would have done the exact same thing if the continuing resolution was passed. Just, we probably wouldn't even hear about it as much because it wouldn't be in the context of a shutdown fight. But there is absolutely no statutory authority for Donald Trump to do what he's doing in terms of canceling these grants that have already been appropriated. There is no statutory authority for him to do this, but he's doing it and pretending it's about the shutdown as an attempt to get leverage.
Yeah, please.
Do you feel any urgency to end the shutdown in the next week, 2 weeks, or would you be fine if it stretches into November and then toward the holidays with folks not getting paid?
Well, you know, shutdown, we've had many, many shutdowns, and this is a shutdown that shouldn't have happened. A group of people brilliantly decided to make it after the election.
Hold on for one second.
Thank you very much.
We just lost our video.
Give it to Trump instead of Biden.
Okay, let's go back to again.
Happened. A group of people brilliantly decided to make it after the election. I said, thank you very much. In other words, give it to Trump instead of Biden. So it shouldn't happen. And likewise, debt ceiling shouldn't have. But the big, great, big, beautiful bill solved the debt ceiling problem for.
Is there a point where you would reach out to?
No. Here's what's happening in the shutdown, though. Honestly, can I put it in plain words for you? And you're a smart guy, so you'll understand, but a lot of people don't. The Democrats are getting killed on the shutdown because we're closing up programs that are Democrat programs that we were opposed to. So we're being able, and they're never going to come back in many cases. So we're being able to do things that we were unable to do before. So we're closing up programs that are Democrat programs that we wanted to close up or that we never wanted to happen, and now we're closing them up. And we're not going to let them come back. The Democrats are getting killed. And we're going to have a list of them on Friday, closing up some of the most egregious, socialist, semi-communist, probably not full communist, we're saving that for New York, but semi-communist programs. And we're closing them up. We're not closing up Republican programs because we think they work. So the Democrats are getting killed, but they're not telling the people about that. I say it, nobody, well, I haven't said it probably as bluntly as I just said it, but so we are closing up Democrat programs that we think that we disagree with, and they're never going to open again. Thank you very much.
Okay, first off, aside from the, partially communist, somewhat communist. But you notice that he says, we're actually saving that for New York. Now, that's a reference, obviously, to Zohran Mamdani. He's just giving it away. Because presumably, by the time Mamdani is in office, there will not be a government shutdown. Now, maybe there will be, maybe there won't be. But he is right there giving the game away. He would do this either way.
Yep.
And by this, we mean, which in fact, I think they actually canceled this before the shutdown. Trump administration has frozen or canceled nearly $28 billion that had been reserved for more than 200 projects, primarily located in Democratic-led cities, congressional districts, and states. This is according to an analysis by the New York Times. Each of these infrastructure projects had received federal aid, sometimes after officials spent years pleading in Washington to only see that money halted as Trump has looked to punish Democrats over the course of the fiscal stalemate. He has no legal authority to do this. In some cases, recipients have started to receive portions of the federal aid Trump aides have offered a series of explanations for the administration's decision to pause or terminate grants, claiming in some cases that the spending would be wasteful or in conflict with the president's priorities. Again, that has nothing to do with the shutdown. It's also not legal. So far, the administration has targeted essentially two broad tranches of federal aid. First, the White House has held up billions of dollars in previously approved transportation funding for New York and Chicago. In New York, the administration stopped the delivery of $18 billion in pledged investments for two major projects, the Second Avenue subway and the Hudson River Tunnel, which serves as the primary rail route through New York City along the Northeast Corridor. Funding for the tunnel in particular has come after years of wrangling as New York officials and their counterparts in New Jersey look to repair a roughly 115-year-old passage from damage wrought by Hurricane Sandy while improving rail capacity. This project was actually predates Hurricane Sandy. And the guy who initially rejected these funds because they were issued for this tunnel in particular during the Obama administration, it was Chris Christie, lauded and praised by all sorts of centrist Democrats. And the reason why this money has not been actually used to fix the tunnel is because over 10 years ago, Chris Christie decided he wanted to show that he wasn't going to play footsie with Barack Obama.
Well, that was because he hugged him after Hurricane Sandy. So he had to pivot back because he wanted to run for president. And look how that worked out.
In Chicago, Trump administration said it paused $2.1 billion pledged for the city's own transit upgrades. This is... And 2 days into the shutdown, announced it would end roughly $7.6 billion in previously approved grants for 223 energy-related projects in 16 states, 14 of which are led by Democrats. There was that big one in Nevada, the biggest solar project that we had in the country. Is there one in Dakota or Montana? Who's it?
Montana was a hydro.
Oh, the hydro, right. I'm sure that's included in this as well. It has revoked its plan to provide up to $1.2 billion for the Alliance for Renewable Clean Hydrogen Energy Systems, which aim to develop a clean burning power source for heavy-duty trucks, port operators, and other major drivers of harmful emissions. This whole thing where he's going to cancel Democrat programs, what he's talking about is money that has been earmarked and appropriated already by the government for Democratic areas. He's not going to cancel any Democrat programs because he knows that those Democrat programs help more of his voters than Democratic voters. That's just the reality of it. There are more Republicans who are using the Affordable Care Act in the exchanges and in the expansion of Medicaid than Democrats. That's just the reality.
I mean, let alone how disproportionately the Medicaid cuts are going to harm red states, the rural hospital closures that result and get a bulk of their funding from Medicaid patients. Up to 50% of rural hospitals could close due to this bill. But Republicans in those states have packed so many different, so much red, have gerrymandered their districts in such a way that they're so cynical that they're okay with immiserating their own constituents in order to appease Donald Trump and get tax cuts for the rich and for their donors. And it is interesting to see Trump try to create leverage out of thin air. I mean, we can see this for what it is. He doesn't have anything, but he's trying to make it seem like he has leverage, because the problem that the Republicans have is that in previous shutdowns under Obama, they had, messaging consistency on this, where they were shutting down the government in part because they don't believe in government. They're the anti-government party. They don't think government should provide certain services for people. That is their belief. How do you square that with the urgency, the need to reopen the government? How can they message that effectively when Project 2025 is all about downsizing the federal government. It's about destroying it. It's about making it difficult for people to use those services. And they've made that case over and over again, the Republicans and the Trump campaign in 2024. So then what is your leverage in terms of the political movement that you've built to make an argument that the government is essential? So if the leadership in the party was more effective, this would be the case they would be making every day, is that government is important. We want government to function. We need these ACA subsidies to continue, because there's going to be a cliff and people's premiums are going to explode, and it's going to immiserate millions and millions of folks. And that is where
let's play this clip, number 3. This is Abdul Al-Sayed running for Senate in Michigan, was recently on the program.
Yeah, a few months ago, but we should have him back.
Also a Left Reckoning guest.
And here he is explaining this slashing of ACA subsidies, because we are literally weeks away from the open enrollment period. People are already starting to get notices about increases in their ACA, but the subsidies, I think, officially run out in a couple of weeks. And then the Republicans are going to have some real pain.
Well,
Donnie, why you shutting?
Abdul,
Donnie, why you shutting down the government?
you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul.
I think it's because your big ugly bill cuts subsidies for the ACA in ways that are going to leave people's premiums going up an average of 75% for 25 million people.
Abdul, don't do it anymore.
And rather than actually protect their health care, you're more interested in picking a fight with the other party, empowering Russ Vought, your Grim Reaper, to come and take out programs that Congress passed. That's what I think. Why do you say my name that way?
Abdul,
This makes me feel weird.
Cue that.
I told him, Abdul.
There it is. That's the messaging that people are hearing across the country, and that's why it's going to start to get a little more painful for them, and they're desperate right now to cut these programs. And we're starting to move into the area where we need to have Democratic politicians start talking about how they're going to respond to this if there's an opportunity for them ever to be in office.
Right.
But
What they're for, not just what they're trying to protect.
exactly. And because what it's going to take to rebuild from this.
Unbelievable. Yes, we're going to need the same level of intensity and urgency that Trump and vision that Trump showed. And luckily the Zoran Mamdani campaign understands that. They're setting themselves up to govern. Democrats nationally need to think that way too.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.